Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the one who claims the invention of the rock.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Dawn of Mankind. Now if you're curious about our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out our other video called Rolling with Two, Dawn of Mankind. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In Dawn of Mankind, you move your clan members along the paths of life, doing various activities before growing old and dying. Other clans may either get in your way or end up helping you along the way. You earn points for a variety of things, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. All right, Will, so why did we get this?
We were looking for more options when it came to math trades. We found this and looked halfway decent, so we went for it and got it.
Yep, that's pretty much it. So what do we like about the game?
It is surprisingly interesting to run a civilization through a flowchart.
Yep, that's exactly what you do with this game.
Yeah, so you have so many tiers. I think it's like 4 tiers and actions. And you'll just be running your tribe through that until it gets to the end, and yeah, they die, but you're gonna have more newborns that are thrown in there. But yeah, seeing them, muddle their way through a flowchart is just...
It's oddly fun and appealing.
Yes.
You wouldn't think it would be, but it is.
It works very well. It just has this movement element that's elegant, yet at the same time, it's like, that makes sense.
Yep.
As you go through the stages of life, so too do you move through the flow chart that is life.
Now, it was initially confusing to have different tiles with the same name.
Yes.
But it makes sense mechanically.
Yeah, different times of your life, because that's ultimately where the changes happen. Like you'll have a hunting action earlier on versus later on in life, and depending on where your person is, it takes more effort or less effort depending on where they are in their position of life. So yes, it makes sense, and then of course it does callbacks to whenever you do a hunt action, whenever you do a study action, whenever you do
the technology can make a action type better.
Right.
So it makes it much easier if it says you gain more fishing or fish when you go fishing. Well, there's multiple spots that say fishing. So instead of having to list early life fishing, late life fishing, or something like that. So that works really well. And just the scope of the game. Yeah,
most civilization games overblow the scope.
Yeah.
So I'm playing with fire, I've learned it, I've learned fire, and then it goes all the way through, well, I'm on a different planet and space travel. It's almost too much, too big. This is just the early bit of mankind.
This is the dawning of mankind, the very beginning. So
it's neat to have a civilization game that's focused and is not overblown, overdone, and it gives you that bite-sized piece of it.
Now, what we don't like about the game.
Unfortunately, this is mechanical. So there are technology cards that are limited. It's especially noticeable in a 2-player game because you only get 5 technologies. And the number of copies of each technology is based on number of players minus 1. So in a 2-player game,
there's 1 copy.
1 copy of each of these tech. So if Sarah figures out basket weaving, it's just beyond me.
Yeah, he's never gonna get it. Never. And
it's a hat. What do you do with it?
And that's the thing that kind of really rubs me wrong. We've experienced this in other games. It's like, these are technologies, but not everybody can learn them. And I'm like, that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever, because it's a mechanical choice.
Well, Sarah discovered basket weaving. Will just ended up killing himself.
Yeah.
Same technology, but it was...
But the big problem here is there can be up to 3 study tiles, so the technology cards can go really fast. And once they're gone, then those tiles are useless. That path is useless. That means the game slows down because now you can either take the high road or the low road, but if you want to do any type of crossing in the middle, you really can't unless you're willing to go through dead spaces, and that's not going to help you.
Yeah,
so it kills some of the game.
Well, it kills a lot of the game because, like we said, this is running your people through a flowchart. Well, what if you took that flowchart, ripped it in half the long ways, and now you have a smaller flowchart up here and a lower flowchart down here? and still have to run through it. It feels very disjointed.
Yeah, it does. And maybe because of that, it overstays its welcome, because once you get all the technology cards purchased, it feels like it slows down because you're having a harder time to accomplish things.
Yeah, this is a race to the finish game because it won't end till someone hits 60 points.
Right.
And with the slowdown, you really feel it.
Yeah. Just overall, the graphic design and iconography could have been better. So part of the mechanicalness of this, it could have been developed better. I think then it also needed more work there because some of it's very muddled and not easy to see or understand.
Right.
And those two things are kind of critical to learning a game. And then lastly, the rules. I mean, I hate trifold rules. This is a poster sheet. I don't know why anybody would think that's a good idea. It's like, I mean, like, what am I doing? I'm going on a trip and I have to unfold the map?
No, I frame all my rules up on the wall. And I need to buy 2 copies of this game.
Right,
so
because I have the front and back. All right. Let's move on to who this is for.
Yeah, who is this for?
It's the lighter to midweight gamers. I think even some midweight gamers would really tire of this pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I hate to put it this way, you need somebody who's not going to be overly critical of it.
Right.
And it's still going to have new experiences for lightweight gamers to just enjoy it as it is.
Yeah. And midweight gamers, they'll probably still want to do some sort of house ruling for certain instances, especially with the study tiles.
Yes, and the technology cards.
And the technology cards. Because that's where the game can just fall apart and then you're like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah. So, all right, ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add it together and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Dawn of Mankind roll for you?
It rolled a 2, and that's kind of being generous because I like the concept. What this game could have been if it had gotten better development, better graphic design. Just the whole technology study tile aspect needs to be overhauled. If you're going to have technology gained through tiles like that and have a limited number of technology, actually even if you had it so that everyone could learn every single one, at a certain point, those tiles would still be useless. They needed a secondary action. Once all this technology cards are gone, you can work on art whenever you go to a study thing or something like that. So there's just too many things, the graphic design, the rules, that just really make it difficult to enjoy this game as is without significant house ruling. So for me, it's not worth it. So that's why I give it a 2.
For me, I see a bit more promise in it, so I give it a 3.
Okay.
Again, like what Sarah says, all the base bones of a really good game are there. Plus, I think the way it tackles a game, having that movement aspect for your civilization, is something extremely novel.
Yeah.
Most civilization games, when they use a flowchart, it's just for their technology tree.
That is true.
This is, well, your people moving through life and the things they do, and it feels very nice. There is, of course, the big problem with the study tiles, and I really hope that the designer who might get this back can shop it around and get some revision or revisit that whole concept, because the fun is moving through the chart, and when you have spaces that stop making that part fun is when the game falters. So is it important to not have, for not all players to have access to the technology cards? I don't think so. Could there be more technology cards? Absolutely. Could you make the study cards have a secondary benefit that's not related to technology card? Yes. By answering those type of questions, you could fix what we think is a partially broken game.
Right.
To something that, yeah, I do want to see a new experience of that and try playing it again and again. Maybe even look at, is it important that we have all these tiles that have to go in these particular spots? Is there any way to shake that up even further? Right. That might also be another good thing to look at. I think this is a game that needs republishing and needs revisiting.
Yeah.
because there's just a ton of promises. I don't see a lot of games out there like this, and this is tackling something new. So I don't want it to be lost to time.
Yeah. Yeah, time.
Donovan guy. So 5 out of 12. It's a very harsh score for a game that has a ton of promise.
Right. Right.
So keep that in mind. I do recommend, if you're a designer, you might actually want to look at picking this up to see what it does, because it is doing something different.
Right. You could get inspired by it, and it's got some really interesting things going on in it.
Yeah.
All right, then.
So there you go. And that'll do it for us. And Sarah?
Yes.
Apart from all the things that we talked about house ruling,
Right.
is there anything else that maybe this game could tackle, or scope-wise?
No, I think the problem for me is I can't see beyond the issues that exist right now.
Right.
To even think about, well, what else would I want it to do when I want it to do what it's supposed to be doing better, before I even think about what else could it do, like in an expansion type concept.
Right.
I mean, can you think of anything?
Well, for me, I just want to see five technologies to just always be available.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, maybe the designer is big on having asymmetry, so that's why they chose not to have the same number of copies of every technology.
Right.
Fine. As soon as one of those go empty, bring in a new technology.
True, there are more technology cards in the game than 5 types.
Right.
I think there's almost 10 types, or there's a lot more, so you could keep adding them in.
Yeah, that is a big area that could easily be expanded, and always see, and then you can really dive into every single game's different, because, well, maybe your tribes are in a different region, and this is why you're seeing these technologies.
That's true.
So I like the scope of the game. I want to still stay focused on there, but I just want a bit more depth, drilling down into, well, since we've narrowed the scope, you shouldn't just be shallow.
Right.
You should be deep.
Yes.
And that's just my concept, and that's a feeling that I think is slightly missing from this as well.
Okay.
All right. And we've been
Rolling with Reviews.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.